Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy placed a brown teddy bear at the site of an attack in his hometown in which 9 children were killed. According to Assosicted Press, in total, 20 people died when a Russian missile tore through apartment buildings and blasted a playground. More than 70 were injured in the attack last Friday evening on the town of Kryvyi Rih. Zelensky visited the playground, a week later strewn with flowers and soft toys in honor of the children. He was accompanied by Dnipro Regional Military Administration Serhiy Lysak as he left a candle and a toy at the site of the strike on the playground. The children were playing on swings and in a sandbox in a tree-lined park at the time of the attack.
They keep the enemy at gunpoint, destroying his equipment and manpower. These are the soldiers of the 429th Separate Regiment of Unmanned Systems, Achilles. Their history began with volunteers who became drone pilots back in 2022, and today they are a full-fledged strike regiment as part of the ground forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, according to Glavored media outlet. The commander of the battalion of the 429th Separate Regiment of Unmanned Systems Achilles, Osa, told how the warriors of the Unmanned Systems Achilles destroy the enemy at the front and conduct training for new fighters. The enemy is constantly attacking our positions. Previously, they carried out assaults in large mechanized columns. After we successfully destroyed these columns, the enemy changed tactics. Now they enter in infantry groups. One at a time, maximum 2 occupiers enter our positions, but we find them and effectively destroy them. The commander of the 2nd Battalion of the 429th Separate Regiment of Unmanned Systems Achilles, Osa, said on the air of the telethon. The company commander, call sign Boxer, also told how one can get into the 429th Separate Regiment of Unmanned Systems Achilles. We teach people as much as possible and share experience. We need people, but specifically motivated ones. I personally go to the training ground. A person can be taught everything in 3 weeks. We have an example. A girl named Maricia. She's 21 years old. Maricia has already had 3 combat missions and effectively destroys the enemy, says the company commander of the 429th Separate Regiment of Unmanned Systems Achilles, Boxer. The 429th Separate Regiment of Unmanned Systems Achilles carries out combat missions in 2 hot areas at once, in the areas of Kupiansk and Dvorechная, and is scaling up in parallel. Recently, fighters from the 429th Achilles Separate Unmanned Aerial Systems Regiment have shown how they destroyed 4 Russian Pantsir C-1 anti-aircraft missile and gun systems worth $56 million. On the 15th of March, the Achilles Regiment released the results of its work in Russia. These missions had been secret for some time. The video shows 4 Russian Pantsir S-1 air defense systems destroyed by the striking winged UAVs. Pantsir S-1 is a self-propelled anti-aircraft missile and gun system that provides close cover for civilian and military targets against airstrikes. One such system costs about $14 million, and the total cost of the destroyed military equipment is about $56 million. It was not by chance that Chinese citizens who fought in the Russian army were captured by Ukraine. Russian commanders did this deliberately. This point of view was expressed by retired NGU Major and veteran of the Russian-Ukrainian War, Alexei Getman, on the air of the Kiev 24 TV channel. According to him, this could be a kind of response to US President Donald Trump's statements that he will put pressure on Russia if it does not agree to negotiations and a ceasefire and military action. The expert notes that Russia can present this situation as a counter-argument, saying that it has the ability to attract China's huge army, so American pressure will not have a significant impact. Why is this politically advantageous for us? The situation is paradoxical, as always in politics, because in this way we show that Chinese mercenaries are fighting on the side of the Russian Federation and we are capturing and destroying them. At the same time, we know about at least the big economic problems between the US and China, so we are showing the Americans that we are on the same side of the barricades, and as allies we are fighting against China's influence, Getman noted. According to the expert, it is hardly possible to say that Chinese soldiers took part in the war. He recalled that representatives of the PRC have already stated that they did not send their soldiers to the war with Ukraine. According to him, the Chinese who were captured could have signed the contract themselves. Getman added that in large Russian cities there are, in particular, many Chinese restaurants, so it cannot be ruled out that Russian special services could have worked there to attract some of their employees to the war. As reported, in Donetsk Oblast, the defense forces of Ukraine captured 2 Chinese citizens who fought in the Russian army against Ukraine. They were captured by servicemen of the 81st Separate Air Mobile Slobozhanskaya Brigade. Chinese were on the enemy side in the combat zone with weapons in their hands as part of a unit of Russian occupation forces. US State Department spokeswoman Tammy Bruce said the United States had seen reports of 2 Chinese citizens being captured by Ukraine while fighting on Russia's side. She called the reports troubling and stressed China's major role in Russia's war against Ukraine. China's foreign ministry said it was now verifying the situation with Ukraine and stressed calls for its citizens to stay away from armed conflict zones and not to participate in armed conflicts. The official representative of the Chinese Foreign Ministry, Lin Jian, stated that China is not interfering in the conflict in Ukraine and there will not be a single Chinese soldier on Ukrainian soil.